get in the car, I want it to be an adventure. I want it to be an experience. I want it to feel like I'm involved in something sporting. Of course, for me, the beauty of the car is very important. You know, when I park the car and I get out, I like to look back and just appreciate it every time. So that's, you know, those are all elements that are important for me in a car. As with anything, I like to learn about, you know, my latest toy. So I kind of went down the rabbit hole of Alfa Romeo by reading up about it. And, you know, I joke about how you don't go looking for an Alfa finds you. And so this was absolutely true in this case. It's a brand that has so much rich history in motorsport, in culture, design, etc. That and of course technology. And so many important and iconic carrozzeria coach builders have been associated with Alfa Romeo. People like Bertone, Zagato, Touring Superleggera, Pininfarina, of course, with the Giulietta Spider. They've been really bad at marketing themselves, but they've had a lot of technical innovations in the automotive world. I'm Afshin Behnia, founder of Petrolicious, and I drive a 1956 Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider. It was probably just over a year that I had bought my Giulia Sprint Speciale, and I was very much enjoying that, and I was not in the market for another car, but this one pops up in Florida for sale, and the price was really good. And I was just kind of toying with the idea, but my friends egged me on, say, buy it, this is so you. So who am I to say no to my friends? And I wired money, sight unseen, and 10 days later, this car shows up at my doorsteps. Drive it less than 10 miles and the motor just completely loses power, and it's just gushing oil out of the bottom end because the rings were bad and the motor needed a complete rebuild. So there was another problem with it too. On the firewall inside the engine compartment where there's the VIN number stamped, that whole firewall was painted over with protective crinkle paint, so you couldn't see the VIN number. So I was worried that they pulled a fast one on me, and this was actually a wrong VIN number on there. So when we had pulled out the motor, we sandblasted that, exposed the VIN number, and fortunately it was the correct one, and actually it turned out to be quite a gem because it's a very early production number, and been very happy with the car since. The Giulietta Spider was introduced shortly after the Sprint, which is the coupe version of the Giulietta that was introduced, I think it was in '55. And the Sprint was introduced as kind of a bit the whole company type of gamble for Alfa Romeo. And that was a huge success. So riding on that success, the famous American importer Max Hoffman convinced Alfa Romeo to introduce a roadster version. Alfa loved the idea, so they had a competition amongst the different coach builders for the best design for a Spider version. And Pininfarina, which was the winner, obviously, their lines, and as much as I like the Bertone prototype, which now is in the Lopresso collection, the Pininfarina lines I find a lot more classic, more timeless, and I think it's really held up well throughout the decades. When you get in this car, you really got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be really in tune with the car, which all of it makes it all the more fun to drive. It's a momentum car, so it's a car where you do kind of need to keep the revs up, to keep that power up high. And again, that adds to the fun to drive factor. You know, if you learn driving a car like this, you'll be such a better driver when you get into a modern car where you're so isolated from everything, and it's easy to, you know, make mistakes in a modern car because you're not really aware of your surroundings, and the car is so much bigger. Today, there's no way you can get a true roadster feel in a modern car just because a modern car's aim is to cocoon you and shield you from the environments, whereas this, you're connected with the environment. So, you know, because of market forces and safety regulations, etc., that roadster feeling is impossible to achieve in a modern day roadster. I've heard people say that a winning car design is one that's got both feminine and masculine elements. To me, Pininfarina's designs have a touch more feminine to them. They're more curvy, they're a little bit more beautiful as opposed to aggressive looking necessarily. So yeah, I think Pininfarina has a touch more feminine to its design. The way the car connects you to history, to culture is really important for me. The whole package of this car is one that just makes me smile every time I get in it. I mean, the feeling you get behind the gauges with their really unique font on the gauges, and just the minimal dash and everything like that. You know, I could be having the worst day, I get in that car, go for a drive, I come back with a smile on my face. The Giulietta Spider, as well as the Giulietta Speciale that I had bought before this, both of those came into my possession before launching Petrolicious. And, you know, there were many reasons why I launched Petrolicious, but one of them was that my friends kept telling me how my enthusiasm for cars is contagious. Petrolicious was a way to share that enthusiasm with the world.